Hi there, I'm Mohamed Adow from PowerShift Africa.
And hi, I'm Nicole Rycroft with Canopy.
And I'm going to talk to Nicole or discuss with her, our climate breakthrough experience.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask a few questions and you will do the same. The first one is, what do you remember the most from your selection process for the Climate Breakthrough Award?
Oh, wow, it feels like such a long time ago now. And I love that we're having this conversation together given that we're of the same year. I remember the questions, right? Like even through the selection process, the questions kind of challenged me to think about my work in a different way, to look for were there new angles to think about things. And I also really remember just the openness, right? Like I had a couple of ideas that were cooking at the time, and the lack of attachment that there was from the Climate Breakthrough team as to which one it was that I was going to pursue. And so just that freedom to really explore where a variety of different ideas could potentially go for impact.
For me, it was actually the exciting announcement that I was actually an awardee. And I was going to get this support that wasn't actually conditional on a proposal that I'd submitted. And so the freedom to actually come up with a real breakthrough strategy for the continent of Africa, a continent that is home to 18% of the global population and accounts for less than 4% of the emissions.
Yeah.
But it's on the crossroads with an opportunity to develop in a climate-compatible way or join in the league of big polluters. And so it gave me this free card to actually think, critically, if we were to pursue an alternative development path, what that could look for Africa. And so that freedom, without any requirement for a proposal and any justification to a funder, but to think big and think for the world continent. And that is what I found most exciting about it.
Yeah, the dreaming and the scheming, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not only encouraged, it's kind of required.
Exactly, and that is what actually unleashed the power of PowerShift Africa and the amazing work we're now doing.
Yeah, amazing. All right, so that leads us nicely into the second question, which is how has the Climate Breakthrough Award program influenced your approach to climate work?
You see, many a times when you look at climate organizations, they have a very siloed approach where they look at the carbon molecule. In Africa, majority of folks don't even have the luxury of having electricity. 600 million Africans don't have electricity. 1 billion Africans don't have access to clean cooking. So for me, it was an opportunity now to think how we can address the interconnected crises that the continent is facing. Climate change, energy crisis, the indebtedness, and not, box myself into just thinking about climate, but an opportunity to think how we can address these issues, but in a more radical way, in the sense of going to the roots of the problem. So addressing the structural crises, delivering transformation that isn't just narrowed at looking at carbon molecule, but actually how we will deliver for the people of Africa opportunities that will help them achieve greater well-being, deliver prosperity, while keeping within the planetary boundaries.
Right.
And that wouldn't have happened because if I was to propose that to a funder, the challenge of explaining why it's important to help Africa avoid emissions and leapfrog to a green future. Everybody is only interested in how much emissions we can cut without necessarily looking at the opportunities that are being lost, without necessarily thinking about how we can deliver better growth, better development in a way that helps people meet their aspirations.
Yeah, the scaling of solutions, right? The developing of new models. I think that was one of the things for me with just the space that Climate Breakthrough allows, is that ability to really lean in. So at Canopy, the strategy that we focused the Climate Breakthrough Award on was basically mobilizing the scale of investment that's required to unlock these game-changing, low-carbon, next-gen alternatives to us having to just mow down ancient and endangered forest ecosystems to make pizza boxes and T-shirts. And so we've done a lot of work on the market demand side with large corporate customers. But to get that kind of infrastructure transition, you also need to mobilize the scale of investment that's needed. And so that ability to lean in on a new strategy in a new sector where, like can balance my own checkbook, but didn't really know anything else about investment, was actually really fun and exciting and exhilarating ride. And to have the space to do that was cool.
And that is the exciting part about Climate Breakthrough Project. So can I ask you, Nicole, what aspect of the Climate Breakthrough Award program stands out for you?
I think it's the take risks, go big, and then, to be honest, it's people like yourself. It's the other awardees, right? Like people that are working on the climate crisis. We're all on the front lines in different ways, and kind of just the variety of strategies and life experience that we all bring to the work, and just the fantastic kind of community of support for cross-pollination, for further refinement and development of ideas. That's the thing that I find most exciting.
Exactly. You see, to deliver the scale of emissions reduction the planet requires, you need to innovate, and you can do that among a community of experts like we have with the Climate Breakthrough Project. I find a lot of inspiration from the work other leaders are doing, and drawing examples from what they've actually accomplished in a way that as a community we can actually build power and deliver the transformation our planet so much needs.
Yeah, and how do we not have to reinvent the wheel, right?
Exactly. And innovate on the back of successes in other geographies in a way that we can actually be able to deliver at the scale that is needed to meet the challenge.
And on the timelines that we need.
Exactly.
All right, so this is always a hot topic, fundraising. Right? Fundraising can be a challenging endeavor. So what would you like to see more from funders looking to support climate action?
The challenge I think we've faced for a long time is only looked at the big polluters and not delivered at scale, the kind of emissions reduction that are needed even in those geographies. And for whatever reason, whatever guidebooks that have been applied in the big polluting countries is what is being forced on the rest of the world. Right. And I think there's an opportunity for us to dialogue and plan differently and center climate actions within the realities of those geographies. Looking specifically at Africa, for example, the challenge isn't so much to cut emissions, it's actually to avoid emissions. Right. And the way philanthropy is currently organized, they would rather have countries grow big and dirty and then clean, rather than incentivize countries to actually leapfrog and become green leaders. Right. There's an opportunity to be unlocked here and huge potential. And in the continent of Africa, we can truly be a renewable energy superpower if we only harness the incredible potential that exists. But talking about solutions in that sense doesn't actually appeal enough to philanthropy. Philanthropy will rather fund, campaigns to stop, oil, gas, and coal, which is important. Sure. But if you don't provide communities, the opportunity to actually get behind the solutions, the opportunity for us to actually realize their aspiration to live within the planetary boundaries will not be realized. So I think there's real need for philanthropy to broaden their scope and think about how they will effectively support breakthrough strategies that are actually leaning towards solutions in a way that we can build confidence in the system. Yeah. And that isn't getting much support. And that is the great innovation of the Climate Breakthrough Project, to actually help support strategies that the leaders develop without necessarily being forced on them.
Yeah, I really like that. And I think that what you speak to there as well is around risk, right? Philanthropic community are kind of historically very risk averse for the most part. And we're not shifting the dial fast enough. And so we need to be doing things that are different, that are innovative, and with that innovative element are risky. And so I think that's one of the things that Climate Breakthrough Award does spectacularly well. And it would be great if that kind of kindled kind of a broader appetite for that within the broader philanthropic community, is just funding strategies that are new and out of the box and a little riskier. And then I think the other thing is around for philanthropy to think more as a consortium, right? Like how to, if a strategy is really promising, then really lean in behind it, and also get your friends to lean in behind it as well, so that it's multi-year, because these kind of huge systemic shifts don't happen overnight. So how do we actually secure the support for the multiple years, like Climate Breakthrough are providing?
And that is a big innovation, a multi-year funding.
Yeah.
and the kind that unlocks the kind of transformation the planet so much needs. And I think funders follow other funders. So I think we need to communicate what Breakthrough Project gets right in a way that other funders can actually learn from and be able to support. There are only a handful of us now. You can imagine in a world of over 7 billion people, if we had more leaders supported innovatively, like the Climate Breakthrough Project is doing, how much transformation we can deliver in a timely manner to help hold warming to below 1.5.
Right.
Thank you.
The magic.
And there will be other awardees coming in. So any advice to future Climate Breakthrough awardees?
Ooh. I would say just bring the magic. Dream big, and then go big. Now's the time for action.
Absolutely. I think the best thing that you can do for yourself is to think big, and not to think that you'll need to deliver your strategy within the first 2 years of funding. You can actually grow incrementally, but what is important is the end goal. Are we able to actually deliver the kind of transformation our planet requires over the period of that project or that strategy? Not so much into the immediate period, because what you need to do is build the infrastructure, the systems that actually allows us to realize that strategy. So think big, but don't overstress over what needs to be delivered, especially in the early years and the early months. So that's my advice. So think big, transformative, projects that allows us to actually help hold warming to safe levels, but don't overstress over what you need to do in the immediate months.
Yeah, I think that's really important, right? You have to be comfortable with ambiguity, because we know where we're going and we know where we're starting from, and then we have a sense or scaffolding with the strategy, but how we exactly get there on the timelines and with the scale of change, we don't exactly know.
Exactly.
Right?
And that is why the journey matters so much.
Yeah.
We'll get to the destination of a safe planet, but we need to actually do it in a way that we enjoy over the time, so that we don't
find
stop.
joy.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.